Recent months has seen an explosion of AI reimaginings of Lord of the Rings. People posting montages that imagine Middle-earth in a new historical context or with vastly different aesthetics than we are used to seeing. It's all good fun, surely. But does artificial intelligence serve as a catalyst for the imagination, or does it signal a new dumbing down of our collective artistic skill, vision, or patience, seeing as these images are instantly derived from works already out there on the internet? Can our new AI overlords improve on Peter Jackson's vision or Tolkien's vision? Do some of these reimaginings have merit or viability in and of themselves? Or is it all just clickbait? We'll soon find out. Update your Palantir firmware. It's time to speculate. What do we think about this new trend?
It's not art, I don't think. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, snap.
I'll put it this way.
A
It's
million
art.
robots are sad now.
Right. No. Okay. No, check it out. It's artwork created by non-artists. Does that make sense?
It's artwork created by non-entities.
No, but what I'm saying is like you feed in like your whatever
Your specs.
what your specs are, and then bam, out comes, whatever pictures.
Yeah.
It does neat looking in the same way that, like I don't know, man. I mean, it's amazing, but like it's like, remember the spirograph? You know, where like you just twirl a pen around and all of a sudden it's like, oh, look, bam, art.
Remember the aqueduct?
Remember the payphone? You had to have a dime.
Remember the velocipede?
Remember the pen that had like 4 colors in it and you hit it one and then you could draw?
Oh, they don't make those anymore, huh? Do they? Probably.
They probably do.
They should.
They might.
Just for old time's sake.
Remember when they dumped milk in the street because the speakeasies wouldn't serve alcohol? And all the mouse got drunk?
There you go. Hey, speaking of that.
New York City, 1925. A city rife with crime and corruption. On its streets,
Hey, is that Donald Trump? Oh, this is Vladimir Putin. Wait a
powerful
minute.
criminal gangs ruled, each with their own ambition for control. But for Gollum, a small-time crook, everything changed when he stumbled upon the One Ring. He soon realized that the ring has the power to control the entire criminal
It's the Illuminati.
underworld, and that not everyone can be trusted. Many people he shall meet along the way, but in this criminal entanglement, it is hard to tell who is friend or foe. Will it lead Gollum down a path filled with betrayal and danger? With the entire city against him, Gollum finds himself the target of Mordor, the dark criminal gang ruled by Sauron, and his top henchmen, the Nartskulls. Despite the odds, Gollum will not back down and takes on the mantle of protecting the ring from the forces of evil and to seek its destruction. Gollum must navigate the treacherous streets of New York, confront his own fears, and face the Mordor mobsters, the orcs, and the Nartskulls in his quest to destroy the ring. It's a trial of redemption and perseverance.
Cool. I mean, so he's still trying to destroy a ring, right?
Yeah.
But is this ring like an underground criminal ring? Like a ring?
don't know.
It's like an actual ring.
Yeah, like a
Trying to
bookie
destroy
ring.
a ring, eh?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, okay, so we take this little thing, right?
Okay.
Right. And like according to this whole narration, like Gollum is actually the guy who's trying to destroy the ring. Like a little petty criminal and try.
Right. He seems like his girl Friday, kind of like the guy on the beat, the detective trying to solve the murder or whatever, or like the gumshoe reporter trying to like figure out what's going on with the underworld. Blah blah blah.
My point is like I would be more if this was like actually a real thing, like unlike say Marvel movies that like try to reinvent established characters. If this was like based off Lord of the Rings, okay, I would
Yeah.
actually probably watch like a movie like this because it'd be like I'm intrigued. Okay, so this is based off Lord of the Rings, right?
Right.
But Gollum's a good guy,
Yeah.
and like see what they actually, how they actually, you
Right.
know, handled
It's
the
funny.
whole.
Yeah. You're onto something because I think I bet there's Tolkien purists out there who, speaking hypothetically, but I imagine there might be people out there who would look at this and say, "This is absurd. They've ruined Tolkien by, reinventing it to death." Where it's totally unrecognizable as Tolkien, other than this face that looks like Gollum.
Right.
But I'm not one of those people. Like I think personally, I've already been insulted by some of the reimaginings of Tolkien.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, therefore, I have like a certain kind of armor, like, Rings of Power. It can't, like, I don't lose any sleep over it. It doesn't make me sad. I don't cry into my coffee,
Yeah.
because nothing can take away the books, which is my first love
Yeah.
when it comes to Tolkien.
Absolutely.
So in that sense, because I'm kind of armored against being offended, if someone wants to take Lord of the Rings and reimagine it in a more daring way, I'd actually almost be more excited about seeing something like this than, especially if it's another generic, like, kind of swords and sorcery
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah.
we've seen already that doesn't do anything new. I think Peter Jackson did the swords and sorcery thing very well, and
Mhm.
I'm super glad he did it, and I'm super happy about it, and I have very few serious qualms about it. Therefore, like, if you are to do Lord of the Rings yet again, it doesn't make sense to do the swords and sorcery thing, and it seems like it makes more sense to do something like this, and then you
Yeah.
would be able to tell
I
a
guess.
similar story and yet a different story.
Yeah. I guess if you're gonna reinvent Lord of the Rings, like reinvent it.
Yeah,
I guess what I'm thinking of is like again, like not that this is ever going to happen, but when you look at Shakespeare, like the different times, like Romeo and Juliet have been kind of reimagined,
right.
and to great effect, like West Side Story. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
what
right.
else is there? Like, I mean, the
Wasn't
the
there
actual
a
Romeo and Juliet. I mean, again, I wasn't a big fan, but stylistically, like
yeah,
the
yeah,
the
yeah.
Leo DiCaprio thing
Yeah,
was like.
he did a kind of a modern Romeo and Juliet, did he not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I mean, how many times are they gonna remake The Taming of the Shrew? Like, you've got 8 like, 10 Things I Hate About You, you've got The Taming of the Shrew, you've got, like,
right.
and even Hamlet, like, apparently, like, I was doing some research, like, Bob and Doug McKenzie's, Strange Brew was based off of Hamlet, you know? I mean, or there could be an argument for that, so,
Right, right.
I mean, not to put Tolkien like, Tolkien is like Shakespeare, but, you could reimagine, like not even reimagine, kind of like take the story and kind of put it in a different
I
place.
mean, to me, I honestly think, and again, this might upset purists, whoever they
Right.
are, but I don't think it should. But it's in Western civilization or whatever. It's quite normal and almost a serious, like, a compliment to take something so loved and to work on it in this way. Like, they do it to the most admired artists and writers in our history. So they do
Yeah.
it to Shakespeare all the time. They do it to Wagner operas. You see
Right. Right.
Wagner operas now, and it's like it takes place in outer space or at the bottom of like a train station or whatever. Like, it's they just
Yeah.
reimagine it in a very dynamic and new way, and they throw in, they. I don't know that they would completely. I mean, they usually don't touch the script. They certainly wouldn't touch the music in Wagner,
Right. Right. Right.
but visually, they would take huge liberties, and I think that's actually become the norm. And so that by now, that if they took Wagner or they took Shakespeare and they did it for the big screen, but they did it traditionally, with like tights on Shakespeare,
Yeah. Yeah.
or Viking helmet horns with Wagner, that in itself would be like a novelty, and people would be like, "Oh, they did a new Wagner, or they did a new Shakespeare, like, in this very traditional way, and people will be like, "What? That's insane! Like, how
Well,
could they
yeah, yeah. But
possibly do that?"
you know what it is? It's like, okay, so the problem that I have with Rings of Power is that it's trying to canonize or cannot make these.
Capitalize?
No, they're trying to make the stories canon.
Oh,
You
right.
know,
Yeah.
you know, and like I think that's the problem that a lot of people have is kind of like this isn't canon, which again, I mean, I'm
Right.
one of those guys where if I don't agree with it, I'm just like, oh, this sucks,
Yeah,
and
you're
again,
right. You know what? It's funny you should mention that because it's almost like more respectful of Tolkien to do something like this than it is to presume to be like making new canon.
yeah,
With
that's exactly
like
it.
these characters that are just invented, like they did in Rings of Power. Um, this is like so obvious that no one would be offended by it, and no one would. Wouldn't be this presumption that, hey, we're trying to make new canon here.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
and
mean? It's just obviously playing with the motifs and playing with the characters. So this I give more credit, more leeway,
yeah, yeah,
more slack than I would something that wants to do swords and sorcery and claim to be canon when it's just reinventing new characters that don't feel right. Nothing feels
yeah,
like Tolkien. Yeah, that this would
but
bother me less
like.
than Rings of Power.
But here's the thing, man. Like I like a lot. Like again, I'm not. This is not Tolkien, but I'm talking. I'm going to talk about Batman. What I think they should, like, how like Batman has been remade and remade and remade.
Yeah,
Honestly,
we're gonna do a dirtier, darker, grittier Batman this time.
yeah. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I'm actually fine if because Batman has always been my favorite character. You know what I'm saying? Like since I was a kid. Just
Okay,
because I.
we're gonna end it now. I'm just kidding.
No, but what I'm saying
That's
is
cool.
like with Lord of the Rings, like with Batman, I think what instead of trying to like create like a continuity, they should just make okay, here's a Batman movie. Let's just make this interpretation of the Batman movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
Because there's a lot of graphic novels and like trade paperbacks that tell different Batman stories where they all feel different. So you know what I'm saying? Like I wish they would do that, and I wish they would do
Mm.
that with Lord of the Rings. Is where I'm going. Like where
Yeah.
rather than trying to like, oh, we're gonna bring Gandalf back when he never was supposed to be like he didn't arrive till the third age, but here's the second age, and like it's Gandalf, everybody, because we're trying to like give something people that we're familiar with. Just man,
Right.
like do a modern day take of Lord of the Rings, or like the Bollywood take. That look, I mean, again, that would look amazing,
Right.
and
Right.
just make it cool. I mean, you don't have to like you can take liberties, you can be creative, you can reinvent certain characters because it doesn't matter because it's like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
tribute.
So, just out of curiosity, so when they do like a new Batman movie, let's just talk about movies, I guess, or graphic novel, whatever. Are all these iterations of Batman? Do they presume to be like um, connected canonically? Like, if he stubs his toe in one movie, he will have stubbed his toe in the past
No, no,
in the next movie.
no, I mean, unless it's like the Nolan trilogy. You had three movies made by the same filmmaker that had continuity. You had the Burton movies that had continuity, right? And then
Mm,
you had the Schumacher movies, which sucked, right?
okay.
But and then you had like like the Affleck Batman versus Superman, which is probably closer to like the DCU type,
Yeah.
like you know and then that wasn't that great. And then the latest The Batman with Pattinson as Batman and Bruce Wayne was completely different, darker. But the thing is, like, there is a redeeming quality about all of those movies. I
Mm,
mean, they're entertaining. Even the Clooney one,
okay.
it's like
Yeah.
entertaining, right?
Cool.
So it's like if people stop thinking about say Lord of the Rings or like as like taking place in the world, just, man, tell a different story. I mean,
Right.
maybe the War of the Rohirrim is going to be good. You know what I'm talking
Do
about?
people argue? I'm sorry, we're talking about Batman, but just serious
Yeah.
curiosity. Like,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
um, do people fight over like which Batman's better? And like, well, I imagine they must,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
There's
but see, it's like to me, it's all this. It's kind of all the same, just because it's for me. Being a non-expert, like
right.
from a distance, it just all looks like Batman. But I'm sure when you get down into close to it, and you're an expert, you're very keen on like all the subtle differences. To me, it reminds me of like how people who like different heavy metal genres like debate over like, oh, I like black metal, I like speed
Yeah. Yeah.
metal,
Yeah.
I like death metal. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't tell the difference. I mean, I
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
could tell the
I
difference,
mean,
but like to me, it's all the same.
like your nerdiness only goes so deep, apparently.
Yeah, like well, that's the
Okay.
thing. It's like when you become an expert in something, you're able to articulate all these fine
I'm absolutely
distinctions.
not an expert on Batman. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I like Batman, but but I've probably like looked into Batman more than any other, comic book character.
Mhm.
I enjoy like a lot of stuff. But the thing is,
We should write a
like
Shakespearean Batman
the
in
Shakespearean
iambic
Batman.
pentameter.
Uh, yeah,
Prithee,
but
Robin.
uh, you're getting all. There actually is a couple of it's not quite Shakespearean, but they have there's a book out called Gotham by Gaslight, which is Batman chasing down Jack the Ripper. It's pretty cool. But what I'm saying is like there's a there's a reimagining of Batman. Like he's in the it's set in the 1800s, and what would
Oh
he
yeah.
have in the 1800s?
Oh cool.
What kind of technology would you have?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
So there,
much
wait,
like
that exists an 18th century Batman or 19th,
yeah,
18th
yeah.
century.
In the look up
Oh, in the
Gotham by
graphic novels.
Gaslight.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
But I mean, but if they made a Gotham by Gaslight movie, that would be amazing. I mean, I don't know how many people would see it. It's probably like me and like maybe Handelman. You know what I'm saying? But
I'd see it.
um,
Would he have a blunderbuss?
he would have a blunderbuss. He would have a shillelagh, but no guns. Now, but my point is that like I'm into like things stepping outside of canon if it's a well-made, good story, and
Totally. Like I mentioned with Wagner, like if the music's good, I mean, it's mainly music. It's like if the music's good and if it
wasn't
has, that's where all
Richard
the
Wagner.
spirituality is. Visually, it can look amazing. Whether if it could be like post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland Wagner, or primordial lava
Hold on.
flows
Hey,
Wagner.
real quick. Wasn't Richard Wagner on Heart to Heart back in the 70s?
I think that might be Richard Wagner.
Oh, sorry. Bam.
um,
Oh God. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, like with Wagner and like with any of these reimaginings, it's like I give it way more leeway. I give it way more leeway because
I
it's
think
kind
so.
of
It's
like
strange. It's strange that way because once you reimagine it, like in this case, it becomes less. There's less at stake because you're not making any grand claims on the canon.
yeah,
Like it allows it some freedom to like have its own little liberty. You create your own artistic license when you do something like this, and then you start to just like, okay, well, does this movie work on its own interior logic? And it's
yeah,
almost you can forget it that it even has anything to do at all with Tolkien. It just becomes a movie that's
right,
slightly like aesthetically Tolkienized. And
right.
then
Well,
you're like, okay, well, does this movie stand on its own legs? And then you're like, okay, I'm along for the ride, or it was just a bad movie. It didn't sink or swim on its own merit. And yeah,
if you take some like like what do you call it, gumshoe Gollum here, right?
yeah.
And and it's like, hey, it's not
Is
canon,
he a
but yeah,
reporter or a
this.
detective? I can't figure it out.
I think he said he's a petty criminal, but either way,
Oh, okay.
yeah, which again makes sense because Gollum was a petty thief,
Okay.
you know. Um,
I
but
thought he
yeah,
was the good guy in this.
yeah, Gollum's a good guy, but again, that's like interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
how are they going to make like will the ring turn him invisible? I mean,
Yeah.
does the ring do anything supernatural? Like, how does that? How would you handle that? And like the early 20th century,
Yeah.
like where this is set. I mean, again,
The ring doesn't do anything. You throw it in the fire, and it just gives you the recipe for moonshine.
I know it's like we need to end prohibition. Maybe that's what it is. The ring is the key to ending prohibition, so everybody can doesn't have to go to
Oh, right.
speakeasy.
All the people making tons of money off of it can. That's why they don't want him to.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So everyone's like, okay, hey, we got these illegal bootlegging things, see, and you're not gonna,
See, I got my
you're
Tommy
not
gun.
gonna
See.
yeah, you're not gonna disrupt our business, see. So you better take that ring and take it back to Mr. Capone. Whatever. But you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, look, it's a cheap ass ring.
Yeah. It just looks like they made it with some old piston ring or something.
Yeah, some old brass.
Some old brash. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I like the old like Masonic fraternity and Illuminati aspect of it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The only thing they're
Cool,
missing
yeah.
is
This is good. I like the evil
the
Frodo.
evil Elijah Wood. I see.
I see. Trying to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the kingpin of Hobbiton. You see,
You don't mess with
Bilbo
me.
left back in with me. See, my boys are gonna rub you out.
Anything that goes on over here has to go through me. See, I need. Okay, so. Oh, here's my muscle, eh? Yeah. Boss. Should I kill him, boss?
Yeah, he's like from the deep south or something. He's like,
No.
hey friend.
Boss, should I break his arms, boss?
Oh, there you go. I like that one.
Yeah. Oh, gee, Frodo. You must think I'm a real dumb dame.
I saw you looking at Eowyn yesterday. Is she your new girl?
Oh, come on. Oh, I mean, I haven't watched enough gangster movies.
Yeah. Who's that?
Why are they? Is that Bill Gates? So they try to make him look like
Oh, they made him the Dark Lord. That's so stupid.
Is he the Dark Lord?
Well, no, because that's when they said Sauron. Listen,
Gollum finds himself the target of Mordor, the dark criminal gang ruled by Sauron, and his top henchmen, the Nartskulls. Despite the odds, Gollum...
It's the Illuminati. It's the Illuminati, see?
Anyway. Yeah,
anyway.
that's cool. The other interesting thing about doing a completely different Lord of the Rings, it's almost the most interesting thing about doing something like this, would be if it made you look at the Lord of the Rings differently.
Yeah,
you know Like, so if I saw Gollum here becoming a hero or the protagonist or the hero of this story, if I almost reassessed Gollum in Lord of the Rings, the book or books, and I thought, I feel like if I kind of really latched onto this character, that my sympathy would go out towards book Gollum even more than it. I mean, he's already cast somewhat sympathetically, but I would be like, maybe I'd feel even more strongly of an attachment to Gollum and feel sad for him when he falls into the lava. I mean, he's never really depicted as the worst guy in the world or evil. I mean, you feel sympathy for him.
You could look at like something like this, like of the Gollum redemptive arc, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Where there is there is redemption in Gollum at the end of Lord of the Rings. I mean, now it's not so obvious, because he is kind of like the villain towards the end. But he gets the ring. Without Gollum, the ring never gets destroyed. More than likely, Sauron gets the ring, because Frodo's not going to be able to withstand the Nine when they come to Mount Doom if Gollum's not there. So there is a redemptive arc for that whole for the Gollum story, but it's like it's a little bit obscured, so to speak, right? Because of his
well, he's considered a ring bearer, and if he hadn't borne the ring all those years, I mean, it was like he sacrificed his own sanity and himself to bear the ring, and for the time he bore it under the Misty Mountains, he was its sole custodian, and as though it drove him crazy and though he kept it for selfish reasons, it still served a purpose and was he ended up able to being instrumental in destroying it. So, you know,
Right.
he
But
he's
but but
he's a
but
ring
more,
bearer.
but there's a lot of different interpretations you can make if you step out of like the Lord of the like trying to be like trying to be canon. Where if it's like, hey, I mean, and again, I'm not advocating for anybody to do this. My point is, like, I would be way more apt to see something like this